Your reputation isn't just being debated in boardrooms, newsrooms, or on Twitter, X anymore. It's being encoded line by line into machine-readable data that decides whether your brand even shows up when someone asks a question. That means that trust isn't just human, it's algorithmic, and it's being shaped right now whether you're paying attention to it or not. 10 years ago, reputation management meant monitoring headlines and tweets. Today, it means making sure AI tools can answer basic questions about who you are, what you do, and why anyone should care, without hallucinating or pulling from a decade-old article that says you're struggling. And make no mistake, people are asking. Prospects are using ChatGPT for vendor shortlists, investors are scanning in Perplexity for market snapshots, and job candidates are checking Claude to see if your culture is worth joining. If the answers aren't accurate, or worse, if you don't even appear, you've already lost ground. If you don't define your trust in structured, machine-readable ways, the machines will define it for you. On this week's SpinSucks podcast episode, we'll unpack what that really means, how structured trust gets encoded, the risks of ignoring it, and most importantly, what you can do to program your reputation before someone else does it for you.
If you're a communications pro who works hard, doesn't compromise quality, and gets the job done, welcome home. We'll share our tips, tricks, and stories, and together we will change the face of PR. Spin sucks, but we don't. With the Spin Sucks podcast, here's Gini Dietrich.
Welcome back to the SpinSucks podcast. I'm Gini Dietrich. Structured trust isn't a vibe, a feeling, or even a reputation survey. It's the collection of machine-readable signals that tell AI systems whether you're credible, relevant, and worth citing. Think of it as the scaffolding around your brand. You have metadata that declares who you are and how you want to be described. You have schema markup that tells machines what's a fact versus what's fluff. You have citations and backlinks from authoritative sources such as media outlets, podcasts, social media, and newsletters. And then you have consistency, the consistency across bios, boilerplates, and key statistics so that nothing contradicts. To a human, this is all background noise. To an AI system, though, it's gospel. Large language models don't quote unquote know you. They assemble you piece by piece from the signals they can find. You show up as a leader if those signals are clear, consistent, and credible. If they're fragmented, outdated, or thin, you show up as vague at best and invisible at worst. Or, put another way, structured trust is like Yelp stars for your brand, except the reviewers aren't people, they're machines deciding who to trust. So how does structured trust actually get written into the system? It comes down to 4 main ingredients: citations and mentions, consistency of signals, third-party validation, and authority ecosystem. For citations and mentions, this is where your brand is referenced in credible sources, media outlets, analyst reports, directories, Wikipedia, and academic publications. You want to think of citations as votes of confidence, just like reviewers give you on Yelp. The more authoritative the voter, the heavier the weight. Where consistency is concerned, you want to make sure your company description, leadership bios, and key statistics are identical across news releases, social profiles, websites, and third-party directories. If there is one small mismatch, say LinkedIn says you have 500 employees, but your about page says 1,250, the machine flags you as unreliable. Make sure the information is consistent and the messages are the same across all media types. And then third-party validation includes earned media, analyst reports, inclusion in rankings, and even government filings. Anything that confirms you're not just telling your own story, but that others believe you and what you have to say. To boot, who you're cited alongside matters. So being quoted next to Gartner, McKinsey, or the Mayo Clinic boosts you. Being cited next to a random blog post site, not so much. Being cited next to Spin Sucks, life-changing, obviously. But here's the thing, ignoring structured trust doesn't just mean missed opportunities. It creates active risks. It's your job to manage risks, right? So don't ignore structured trust. What this means is that if the AI can't find clear, consistent signals, you won't show up. No mention equals no mind share. We've talked a lot recently about how that makes you invisible. Don't be invisible. You can fix this. At the same time, machines don't leave blank spaces. They substitute for them. So if your data is thin, they'll lean on whoever has built a stronger trust infrastructure, such as the category leader competitor. Outdated data becomes your story. So that 2019 or 2012 article you'd love everyone to forget, if it's one of the only structured references available, it becomes the defining narrative. And those hallucinations, they run wild when there's no reliable structured data to ground an answer. AI fills in the gaps with outdated or sometimes just plain wrong information, and those errors can spread faster than your corrections. While you begin to understand all of this, you also need to know that the window to define your structured trust is closing. Early movers are already setting baselines that others will be compared against. If you're not actively programming your trust, you're passively allowing machines to write your reputation for you. One important caveat: structured trust amplifies reality. It doesn't overwrite it. If your brand has real reputational issues, they'll be encoded, not erased. You can not engineer away a broken culture, a defective product, or a scandal. Structured trust can only magnify what already exists, for better or for worse. We've discussed structured trust and what it means. Now let's discuss how to engineer structured trust, how to know if it's working, and what you can do right now. If trust can be structured, it can also be engineered. And the good news is you already have the raw materials. You just need to package them in ways machines can recognize, validate, and reuse. Here's how to do it. Number one, build a source of truth page. So you want to think about this as your digital single source of fact. One URL that AI systems can parse and trust. You want to include definitive company facts. So the year you were founded, your headquarter location, your leadership roster, your core products, your employee count, your revenue range, and growth milestones. You can include leadership bios that are consistent across the website, LinkedIn, media kits, and frequently asked questions, which should be written in Q&A format, marked up with FAQ schema, which we talked about last week. So if you missed that, go back to last week's podcast episode. We talked a little bit about how to do that. Also, if you don't know what FAQ schema is and you did not miss last week's and you're still confused, Google has a great tutorial. Or better yet, ask your favorite AI tool to walk you through it. One thing to note, this is not about pretty storytelling. It's about clarity and consistency. It won't be pretty, but remember, this is for robots, not humans. So it can live on your site, not in the navigation, hidden from the humans, so that it's there just for the robots. So build that single source of truth page. Number two, use schema markup that matters. So this one is tough if you're not an SEO or web expert. So ask experts for help. And if you need somebody, I have someone on my team who's phenomenal and he will be happy to walk you through it. So just reach out to me and let me know. But you're looking for, when you're thinking about this, you're looking for schema markups for your organization, products or services, executives, and your other subject matter experts. The markup should include the organization's official facts plus what's called same as links. So you can use Wikipedia, Crunchbase, and LinkedIn to help your organization. You can do an individual schema for your executives, including their roles, bios, and credentials, and then do a how-to and event schema for launches, for instance. You can also do it for instructions, product and service usage, things like that. Schema is akin to you whispering into the machine's ear, "Here's what's true. Use this." All right, so we've built a single source of truth page. We've used schema markup. Now we're going to publish citation-ready content. Machines do not like fluff. They like clarity. So make your content citable by publishing short, authoritative explainers on your category and products. You see this a lot in the sort of like article summary or the too long didn't read summaries that we're doing it too on Spin Sucks that come at the top of the article. That's the Publish, that's the short authoritative explainer on content, right? You also want to do that for the industry, for your product, for your service, for all the things that you're creating content around. You want to share proprietary research, benchmarks, or stats because machines love hard numbers. You want to create how something XYZ works guides to own industry definitions. And you use plain language so AI doesn't have to translate jargon. Citation ready means it's so clear and definitive that an AI model can safely drop it into an answer. So now we have a single source of truth page. We have our schema markup. We've published citation ready content. And now we're going to work to insert ourselves into the knowledge graphs. So the large language models learn by association. And that means the more often you appear in the trusted knowledge graphs, the more real you are. This means that Wikipedia is still a major source, and so are professional associations and sector-specific listings. If it makes sense for your organization to be in analyst reports, put an emphasis there and ensure your earned media efforts hit all of these cylinders, and not just with the high authority media, but also with the trades. Think of these as the training grounds where machines learn who you are. If you're not in the graph, you're not in the game. The best way to begin engineering structured trust is, of course, to use the PESO model because it gives you the operating system to make all of this work together. Paid amplifies the authority signals, earned provides third-party validation, shared reinforces values and credibility at scale, and owned delivers that structured citation-ready asset that the machines need. So here's the question that every CEO will ask. How do we know if this is working? And that right now is a tricky question to answer because we don't have the tools to track whether or not we're showing up when we should in AI answers outside of doing it manually. So you're going to have to do it manually. The good news, though, is that structured trust leaves measurable footprints. You just need to know where to look. So a few things you can do. Run an audit on all of the AI tools. You can use the free versions for this. You're simply auditing whether or not your brand shows up, and if it does, what information is being surfaced. Run the same set of prompts on all of the tools every quarter or every month if you like. Try things like who is brand, best category company. So who is Spin Sucks? What is the PESO model? What are the best PR industries or PR agencies in Chicago? And then track how you show up. Figure out if you're showing up in that knowledge graph, right? So it powers the knowledge panel on the right side of your screen when you search on Google. So you can simply Google your organization, executives, and products or services. Or if you have an SEO expert on speed dial, have them use SEMrush to do the research. If you're not being picked up in there, it's a strong signal that AI systems will not see you as credible. If you are, however, being picked up there, AI systems will see you as credible. So you want to work on that knowledge graph. And then do your media and mention monitoring just like you normally do. Tools like Muckrack or Mention can help track citation velocity and authority sources. So once you have all of your tools set up, you'll track citation velocity, source diversity, sentiment consistency, and visibility share. I'm going to go through each of those for you. So for citation velocity, you want to track how often your brand is being cited in structured answered and whether or not that's accelerating. So are we showing up once or twice and then it's moving to 3 or 4 times and so on? Or are we just staying at once or twice? For source diversity, you want to track if you're showing up in one publication or across multiple authoritative domains. For sentiment consistency, you want to track if machines describe you the same way everywhere or if there are contradictions. And if for visibility share, you want to track how often you appear compared to your competitors in the AI-generated lists and comparisons. As you do this work, you'll want to watch for outdated information, competitor dominance, and contradictions. If AI keeps citing a year's old article, you've lost the narrative. If your competitors consistently show up in best of lists while you're absent, you have some work to do. And if there are contradictions, such as different employee counts, conflicting leadership bios, or an old headquarters address, you want to update everything and make sure it's consistent across the board. If you're not tracking these signals, you won't know when your structured reputation is slipping or where you're quietly winning. Just like anything else, structured trust is not a one size fits all. The mechanics are the same, but the levers change depending on your industry. So if you're a B2B or SaaS organization, analyst reports and Wikipedia entries carry disproportionate weight. A single magic quadrant mention in an analyst report can echo through dozens of AI generated comparisons. For consumer packaged goods, retail listings, verified reviews, and lifestyle media shape trust more than analyst coverage. If Amazon says you have 2.5 stars, machines will believe it. For professional services, your structured trust lives in bios, case studies, and credibility in the business media. So think Harvard Business Review, the Wall Street Journal, and your trade pubs. You'll be invisible if you're not consistently framed as an expert. In healthcare, peer-reviewed studies, government databases, and hospitality or physician rankings weigh heavily. So machines favor regulated, evidence-based sources. If your data isn't reflected there, you do not exist. And in financial services, you want to think about regulatory filings, credit ratings, and major financial media, so Bloomberg, the Wall Street Journal, and the Financial Times, that drive credibility. Inconsistent disclosures or missing regulatory data will undercut everything else. The nuance matters. A SaaS company that ignores Wikipedia is shooting itself in the foot. A CPG brand that doesn't manage product reviews leaves machines to decide. A law firm that doesn't align partner bios is handing competitors the advantage. And a hospital system without NIH citations looks less credible. A bank with mismatched financial disclosures risks being flagged by the machines as untrustworthy. The concept of structured trust applies everywhere, but the execution must match your context. You might think, okay, Jenny, this is all fine and dandy, great, but it's hard to keep up, and I just don't have the time. Never fear, my friend. I have some quick wins that you can apply immediately without a lot of time and effort. All right, so that AI audit I mentioned earlier, that's super easy to do in about 15 minutes right now. You might go down a rabbit hole and it will take you longer, but I'm only responsible for getting you to do the initial audit. So I'm responsible for the 15 minutes. If it takes you longer, that's on you. Ask at least 3 AI tools the same 3 questions. Who is your brand? What does your brand do? And best category companies. Then see what comes back and what's missing. You can also, this will take you longer than 15 minutes, but create that single source of truth page. One URL, clear, consistent, machine-readable facts. This becomes your brand's reference points. You want to align your leadership bios and your boilerplates, audit your website, LinkedIn, news releases, and media kits, and make sure every fact and statistic matches. Publish at least one citation-ready explainer, a crisp how your category works or the state of your industry 2025 gives machines something to latch onto. And then you want to cross-link high-authority mentions. So if you land a placement in TechCrunch, the Wall Street Journal, or a key trade pub, link to it from your owned assets so machines can connect the dots. And then lastly, monitor proactively. So set up Google Alerts, easy, free, easy, for your brand plus AI, so you'll know the minute your company starts showing up in an AI context. None of this requires a complete rebrand or $1 million budget. It's about taking the assets you already have and packaging them in ways that machines can trust. Reputation used to live in headlines, in customer reviews, and in water cooler chatter. Today, it also lives in structured data. Trust is no longer just human, it's algorithmic. Machines are already encoding who you are, what you stand for, and whether you're credible enough to recommend. The people who matter most to your business, buyers, investors, recruits, rely on those answers to make decisions. So the real question is this: are you engineering that reputation on purpose? Or are you letting outdated articles, mismatched bios, and competitor citations do it for you? Because if AI were asked who you are, would it get the answer right? Do not wait until you're invisible in vendor comparisons or misrepresented in AI-generated answer. Start building your structured trust now. Define it, measure it, and maintain it before someone else does it for you. We're not just managing reputations anymore. We're engineering them. If you want to dive deeper into how to build structured trust for your organization, join us in the Spin Sucks community. It's a great place to get advice, brainstorm ideas, and build real relationships with your peers. You can find us at spinsucks.com/spin-sucks-community. That's spinsucks.com/spin-sucks-community. And make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. We're posting tips, how-tos, cheat sheets, and more every week. I'll see you next week.